What's up, bros, hoes, and gigolos, my friends? Volatile days in the market. We finished down about 1%. Had a really nice reversal, though. And I think that's, a decent sign for all things considered. So, first of all, we got shemangled at the open. We were down 2.1% at one time, and we came right back down. We cut through the first level of kind of support that I was monitoring, and then we came back down into the second one. Once we used up the ATR times maybe like a half, 1.5 ATRs, we started to have a decent size bounce into the close, and we made back more than half the losses. So I would consider that a win, all things considered, because for a hot second, it looked nasty. Now, look, a lot of people will read a lot into like, hey, this happened, Trump did this, blah, blah, blah. In the scheme of things, we were at all-time highs. We into resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So we were at the top of the Bollinger Band, overbought stochastics, at resistance. It's a natural fade spot for people to sell into, especially when you're up 6, 7 days in a row. So we got hit, right, with the Microsoft stuff and all this other kind of stuff going on. All you needed was a little match to get the selling going. And as we've seen of recent, these buy-sell programs come on and they turn the algos on and you don't even get entries sometimes. Like you just see the market bounce and you're like, come on, let me get in, and they just go. And then the same thing happens back on the upside. So overall, the structure of the market is still there. I would say if you are just sitting there trading the lame sevens or maybe the mag tens, that you're going to have trouble making money. They don't look so good. You see stuff like Palantir, like, yeah, right? Kind of looks like a giant head and shoulders. Amazon's looks like it's just stuck in range. If you look at NVIDIA, just stuck inside range. It's at the same price it was, 6, 7 months ago. So you want to stay, obviously, Microsoft is, done. Microsoft's chart looks like crap. Netflix looks like crap, right? So on and so forth. So if you're looking at this, you would say oh, wow, the market is not acting well. But there's a lot of other stuff that is acting well. And so I think, that's where you should really have your focus, especially during earnings season. If you look at, I run this liquid gainer scan at night, you'll see all these stocks that had news out today that just had really nice pushes, this right off the gate on this thing. You'll see SanDisk is going to be in play tomorrow. Look at this love, right? So a lot of times, we look at the market and we're like, oh my God, the market looks like shit. And then you see something like love. Dude, this is in play. We should be, yeah, it's an airlines and it's a shitty one, right? But, dude, look at RCL, up 18%, 50 points, right? Look at the end of day push on this. So there is pockets of this kind of stuff, even, Viav Solutions, right? 15 million shares, up 18%. So you have these other things. So one of the things to do is run some scans in the morning, big upgrades, earnings plays, earnings beats, all of this kind of stuff. Look left on the daily charts. You're going to find things to play beyond your kind of lame sevens. If that's where the action, if you're sitting there twerking it to what Tesla's doing all day, you're probably not going to make any money, right? The other stuff is going right now, and you can't rehash old momentum either, right? So what I mean by rehash old momentum, I make this mistake all the time, right? You look at something like a Riggedy that did this, and right, you're waiting for the turn. I made the mistake too. I've done that just recently. And so I think, rehashing the old momentum's not really in play either. It's looking for new momentum or continuing momentum, right? Versus hey, is Palantir getting ready for a bounce? Who cares, right? So let's dig into the watch list and see, what we can play for tomorrow. I do think this RCL looks like it's going to break out to all-time highs. I love the range on this. This is my perfect amount, perfect float, right in the sweet spot of it's not low, but it ain't high. It's just a good mover with liquidity. Meta, those earnings didn't look like much to me, but it's a good thing that I'm not a earnings reader person, a majiggy for my job, right? Our job is to draw the squiggles and make things happen. Man, the action was good. It gapped up, pulled right back into the bone zone, and then popped up 30 points. That's good range right there. Like, that's some good old-fashioned God-fearing Christian range right there. So let's put this on watch. You get a week open on this. Let's red to green that thing. Look at the dip on ASTS. I apologize for all these, random trend lines. Look at the dip on ASTS. It's a little herky-jerky with the spread and stuff, but like, ooh, nice close. I think if it takes out this 124, you get a continuation play. Old Netflix. Look at it. You got a little bear flag. Netflix, there's some decent looking bear flags out there. You got Netflix, MSTR, BMNR, but this has got a sweet spot right here. We shred this tomorrow. If we need a long, I think RDW along with ASTS and PL all look great. Let's keep those on watch. And look, a lot of these kind of data center places, they sold off at the open and they got rebought back. And so I think we want to keep an eye on those because they tested back into support. Lately, when they've been wicking back into support, the next days have been like good bounce days. So like a lot of times you'll see these ones with like these big down days and you're like, fuck, like maybe I should be shorting it. And then the next day, like they ramp. So just something to keep in the back of your heads. Iron did very similar, right? You're like, oh shit, it's over. And then it ramps its way back up. PL, I really like this one for potentially tomorrow if we can break out of this trend line. It's digested nicely for the last week. You're right into the bone zone. This got good liquidity too. Add that one. Cypher, I know a lot of people will take it off their watch list. Once you have a couple green candles, everybody puts on the watch list, and then you get a big red day, everybody takes it off the watch list. But the market shifted a little bit in this last few months, where it's like these dumpster dive setups, like where they just dive off. When you think they're gonna break up, then they dive off the next day. It's right after in the next day or two they actually break back out. So just something to kind of keep back in your head. Fuck, man. I had my eye on this one, but I started messing around with gold. What's with MSTR and like, even like we were shorting this UGL. The margin on these things sucks. Like, MSTR, like they just never let you get enough shares. Like, even though it's like not an expensive stock anymore. You just can never get enough shares. Same thing, UGL. Like, it took all my BP to have like 4,000 shares of that thing. It's like, what the thingamajig is? Now, look at this. You got a level right here. If Bitcoin keeps fading off, I think we got some downside on this. Big volume on this. My one worry is this. I think if Bitcoin pulls back like one more day into that 80 spot, it might ramp, So MSTR looks like shit, but Bitcoin actually, if it pops down about 3,000-4,000 more, and you look for a wick at 80, I think you get the reversal. So there's things that we have to play through. BMNR, nice big, multi-month bear flag here too. 62 million shares in volume. And this is another one. If Ethereum wicks down into that 2,000 spot or 2,200 or something, like it's probably going to bounce. So just got to keep that into the back of your heads too. Love. You get a week open on this. I think we red to green it. SanDisk is going to be in play. So, we want probably add in some WDC. And, I'm only looking at this fucking thing for a short. But it's got a lot more work to do. So, that's it. I got, my larger watch list is, like, fairly big. But I think a lot of them need, they need more work. Software names look like crap here. If you need some shorts, I got a list of these SaaS stocks, man. But you can do green to reds on probably all of these kind of things. Appfolio, Teams looks like crap. Dude, HubSpot. You know what? I use HubSpot for my CRM. I don't want them to fuck me, because they charge me like 10 grand a quarter or whatever. But, dude, it makes me feel good to see these guys just get their balls twisted a little bit. I mean, we're a small business. I don't even have fucking hair. Like, how you going to charge me 10 grand a quarter? I don't even got hair, right? Like, I should get discounts for all this shit. So, this clean break under 300, like, you can take some of these things down. Right now, 55 million share volume, Microsoft, you know. And then just watch for big volume blowouts on the SaaS sector. You know, I think that'll probably be when you start getting into the bottom. Like you want to see like a CRM, you know, with like a monster like 50, 60, 70 million share sell off day. That'll probably be the bottom on it. So just something to, but we can keep playing these and shorting these for now too. I would say CRM and now we're the most liquid currently. Obviously Microsoft is, but Microsoft like Algo City, man. It don't move much, and it's like HFT Algo City. It just trades weird. Pass, like, you know, you can do something like Snow or something. But that's it. Nothing crazy. Be careful. The market's hot in certain spots, and it's like unhot in other spots. It is not ubiquitous. Oh, whoa. Fuck, is that a word? Ubiquitous. I think that... Look at... Oh, man. I think I just did something right there. Man. All right. I love you guys. Peace, man. Give me a smash a like. Leave a comment. Do whatever you need to do. I love you guys. Peace.